You're listening to Let's Be Real.
Hello, welcome to Let's Be Real podcast with your girl, Miss Tara. I want to thank you again for tuning in. It's going to be a very delightful and informative show today. I do want you to share it. I want you to click your likes. And especially, I want you to comment because there are a lot of people out there who aspire to be an entrepreneur, currently engaged in entrepreneurship, and they're having a hard time trying to figure and maintain it along with life hitting you upside the head. So we're going to speak today to Lavon Featherstone. She is an entrepreneur. She is a publisher. She has multiple media businesses that are currently going. She has a management company. She is just all that and a bag of chips, as we say. And I'm just dating myself because that's what I say. But I'm going to welcome her in. And I just want you to tune in, give her some support, show your love, and again, share the podcast. Lavon, thank you for being part of the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And don't be shy, okay? This is Let's Be Real, and we want to keep it real, so we need to hear you, okay?
All right.
And as I always say, if there's something you don't want to discuss, it is well, because we're not trying to beat anybody up, expose anything. We're just trying to tell our truth. And Let's Be Real speaks to, I hate saying the everyday person, but the non-quote unquote celebrity, because most of us laymen's deal with things on a daily basis, and we need to kind of uplift and encourage one another so that we know that we're not alone. So with all that being said, we're going to jump right in. So as I said, you are an entrepreneur. You've been an entrepreneur for many, many moons. So you became an entrepreneur starting with publishing at a young age. What age did you start your own business? And then how did you know what to do and how to start?
I was actually 23 years old. I didn't know what to do. I actually decided that I wanted to tell my story and to share my writings. And I just didn't want a third party to be involved. So I just took the leap and did it.
Wow, that leap. Was it a leap of faith or was it just a leap in I know how good I am, so what the hell?
More of a control thing.
Okay. So basically it was you and your ability to control your narrative and your business.
Yes.
Okay. So what steps did you take? Because you said, okay, I really didn't know, but you had to either have an idea or know someone. So for our entrepreneurs out there, what is the first thing they should do?
Well, I actually researched how to start a business and just went from there. I actually got the EIN and everything like that. I got stuck on the classification of deciding what type of business I should actually have, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and things like that. So I just enlisted the services of a company to bring everything, to the finish line so I can go ahead and operate as a business.
Okay, so you did seek professional help to make sure it was done correctly.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want you guys out there, listening, she did not figure she can do it all by herself. Even with the controlling nature that you spoke of, you still knew to do it right. You wanted to make sure you had a professional to help.
Yeah. I wanted to control the art of it. I didn't necessarily need to control how it began, but I just wanted to be able to control how everything else flowed afterwards.
Now, you said 23. So did you, go to college and then decide that's not for me? I want to do my own business?
No, I actually didn't. I was in college when I actually started the business. I decided to start the business because I guess my father, he basically said, do something with the writing, and working at the college that I was working with, I figured, writing was a tool for me and I can use it as a tool to help other people, express their voice.
Okay, so just a side note, what were you going to college for?
Initially, a pre-med biology major, but
okay.
But I actually graduated with a sociology degree.
Okay, so now with that being said, again, we're talking to our entrepreneurs. Um, would you, and this is not her giving you advice, this is telling you how she felt and what her thought process was. Looking back, would you say, oh, I could have just skipped college and started my business, or going to college helped in you formulating the business?
I wouldn't say that college had a role in formulating the business, but it did have a role in how I interact with people, being able to let more people in and building lasting relationships. But I wouldn't say that it tied into, I guess, my career choice now.
Yes, it's so different from pre-med. Um, So starting at 23, you're starting this business, you did your college thing, you're now full-fledged, you're a publisher. You've over the course of years, you've published 6 books. You have 4 more in the, on the shelf waiting to be published. So
Don't tell nobody.
with the I'm putting it out there so we can all encourage her to continue to publish her art, and her publishings are on Amazon. And where else can they find them?
Barnes and Noble.
And Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, things like that.
So definitely, look up Lavon, Lavon Featherstone, just the way it sounds, and go check out her publishings. But now, over the course of the years, you started with publishing, and like I said, you went into media, to managing people with your management company. But during that time, you were also battling your health. There
Yes.
were health issues that kept creeping up and causing some difficulty with you managing your business. How did you handle your health and still keep your business floating, and those who were nearest, dearest to you did not know how sick you were?
I think, I've always wore the, I guess we gotta say the mask of being the strong one. I'm not saying that I'm not strong, but I know that the strength does not come from me. I said this, almost 19 years ago when my father passed, that I'm not strong because of anything that Lavon has done or is doing. It's only because, God continues to hold me up. And I'm thankful for his grace and mercy through everything that I have been through in my, about to be 39 years of life. So, you know, I guess how did I do it? I just kept going. One of the things that I've had a conversation in the past with is that if I'm doing, people can't see.
Okay.
They can't
So would you say
acknowledge.
you were struggling in silence then?
Yeah,
Because just because you weren't doing doesn't mean you still wasn't feeling the effects of your illness.
yeah, that's true. That's
Okay.
true. I just kept on pushing through. And I think one of the things that with dealing with a lot of health issues and experiencing a lot of loss, one of the things I always worked towards was leaving a legacy of something.
Hmm.
So, but not actually living while trying to build that legacy. So, I enjoy everything that I do. I enjoy being able to give people a platform and a voice and things like that. But many that know me know I'm going to do it from behind the scenes. Like, if I can do it from across the street and still see that you're doing okay, I'm going to do it and not have anyone know exactly that I was involved in that project. So, not necessarily leaving a legacy that is attached to my name, but leaving things or assisting in helping people leave things that will well outlive them.
So now you spoke of legacy, you spoke of loss and your illness, and then I still remember initially you starting with control. You not wanting individuals to know that you're on the forefront of what you do, or know that you're sick. Do you equate that to trying to be in control of your total narrative, and
Um,
to let somebody know it mean you may need assistance, and again that will take away your control?
in some aspects, in certain relationships, I really think that people that show up, no.
Okay.
Um, I'm not saying if that people have to be mind readers, but people that I've had consistent relationship with, I have no problem with showing that vulnerable side. But for people that I don't have a relationship at that level, It's just like, let me just get what I have to get done and keep it moving. Um, and, I've always been a private person, and people already created a narrative for me before I would even think about creating one. I was just living life. I've always been a person to try to take it a day at a time. And, one of the things in high school, one of the things I used to say, live today to the fullest, because, you never know what tomorrow holds or how it can change. And being through, going through all the things that I've been through, I know that things can change from moment to moment.
Mm-hmm. So now you just said someone or people created the narrative for you. What is that narrative?
What was that narrative?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure it's probably different now because I'm older.
You never know.
You never know. I know that, I grew up in the projects. People expected not only me, but my brother to be a statistic based on where we came from. They may not have vocalized it to us personally, but there were conversations, and people never realized that you talk about people, and you know that people are going to talk about you, but once you hear it, it changes the whole outlook of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're shocked at first, but in your mind you're like, let me just go ahead and do it. I was supposed to have kids. I don't have any by birth. I have a million that I've adopted, but my brother is not, he's not out here doing crazy things out here. So, um,
So did
I'm
you use
private.
what was said as the catalyst to keep pushing you forward?
Not really.
Okay. You just ignored it and lived your life.
Yeah, because I'm like, you don't know me anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
you can make up what you want to make up anyway. So that's why as I get older, I say, the relationship that I have is not because of anything that I did. They were God ordained.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were supposed to rock out with me and rock out with me, they'll know. Some people feel like they can tell a story because they see a person or heard things, but
Right.
until you talk to me, you'd never know the whole story.
And this is true. And the reason, listeners, of why we kind of made the shift from just talking about her entrepreneurial background to the reasons why she's an entrepreneur, the health, because we have to understand that, just as she said, you can see someone and think, oh, they're an awesome business person, they're so strong. And then you feel bad that you're struggling trying to be the business person and deal with life. So this is to show you that, as she said, you don't know someone until you know someone. Like, you hear their story. You can't look at someone and be able to say, I know this person, they're strong. Because, and here leads up to my next question, and all the strength that people assume you have, family and close friends. I can go to Lavon to do XYZ, Lavon's going to handle. So they have placed this strength on your back that then you accept it to wear and move into. What in everything that you've experienced, you felt almost took you out mentally? And what kept you going?
I think I want to start with what kept me going. I have to say just God, because there were times and I'd be like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done with everything. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just like, I just want to go sit somewhere, watch some rom-com and eat some ice cream and call it a day. Like, watch something that's happy, because
Right.
in reality, my reality was not that. What almost took me out was, I think, blow after blow after blow. Not necessarily in one area at a time, but when things are coming from different angles all at once. Health, business, financing, relationships with people, And one of the things that I've never tried to do was defend my reputation or my character.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know me, you know me. If you don't, you don't. If you're going to believe it, you're going to believe it. But I would say most recently, to actually hear someone speak ill of me, that I held in a high regard. Still love them, but just, I just look at them in a different way. And for them to not to have the total story to know who Lavon is, just because you have been a spectator in my life, don't mean that you have actually got the story. You've seen the pictures or you seen my movements, but you don't know me.
And that's true. When people minimize, I think, words. Like we always say, you know, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never help me. Yes, words do more damage because they sometimes reach to the very core of places you didn't even know were sensitive, depending on who's saying them. And they can break us. So I know you said God keeps you. But do you really feel like God can take you where you are supposed to go in the midst of everything happening? Like, have you totally released yourself to just go where he feels you should be going as life is knocking you upside the head?
No, he be acting up sometimes. Listen, you know, I have this joke with my friends that God decides he wants to have conversations when it's time for me to sleep. He decides that he wants to do whatever he wants to do. I kind of stopped making plans. I'm just like, listen, what we doing today? Let me know. And you can't even do that because he may say we doing this at 12 o'clock and he changes his mind at 11:59. So
This is true.
I haven't completely relinquished because, like I said, you know, it's a control thing.
Right.
And being fear of the unknown. You know, you say you want to, well, I say I want to leap, but I'm like, am I going to fall in the water? Is that grass down there? I can't see all the way down there. So what am I leaping? Are you going to catch me? I have not gotten there yet, but do I pray about it every day to be able to? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why God keeps coming, because your communication is still open. There are people who have, as you said before, they shut down. Thank God you didn't end up going to this place and just vegetating, because he's there and watching out for us. And it doesn't mean that life won't happen, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to come against some trials and tribulations, but it means that he's going to see us through. Not necessarily always the way we want to be seen through, but we will be okay on the other side. And I asked you that because, again, I go back. We're having this conversation and interview because you are a young lady and you divulge your age. I'm not giving anything, 39. And at a young age, you started your own business and you've grown that business all while dealing with health. And we're not saying everything that it is, but severe issues with health, losing your dad and other significant people back to back at one point, month after month. And you had to keep going. So now you put on the mask, you put on the burden that people placed upon you. And I want other young ladies and even men out there to understand, would you kind of have a story or a comment to someone else to say that the mask and carrying other people's weight is something that you would do again? Or would you alter that?
I probably would say I would not have changed anything.
Okay. Share.
I don't think that I would have changed any of that journey because it built a strength, not necessarily a physical strength, but a prayer strength, a relationship with God. Because, in carrying those people, I had to pray for those people. I had to ask God to help those people. So it may not have been the best thing mentally and physically for me at that time, but it was the best thing for me spiritually. One of the things that someone said to me is that prayer has sustained you, that has helped you and has been able to bring you forward. And I believe that because even when I wasn't praying for myself, I was still having a conversation with God. So I wouldn't have changed any of that per se, but
could you have done both at the same time? Like, I'm not carrying your burden, but I will pray for you. I'm not going to be walking around trying to solve your problems, but I'll pray for you.
Well, I think it would have to go, we would have to go deeper and go back further because, one of the things is that relationships are be seen and show up
Mm-hmm.
and be seen. Um, I wanted to show up, but I didn't want to be seen.
Gotcha.
So it's a difference. Like, okay, let me help, but I don't necessarily want to be seen. So um, I couldn't do both at that time. I didn't have the mental capacity or the level of self care or to be able to
Mm.
move forward.
Wait, I'm sorry. Please say that again. We need what to be able to do both at one time?
Self care. That's what you're talking
Huh.
about.
And self care is so important. So I will go back, listeners, because what I'm hearing is I might have done some things differently. I might have prayed for my strength and growth so that I could care for myself while being there for someone else, because then I wouldn't have been there to the detriment of myself. Because there are sometimes we give so much of ourselves that we lose who we are trying to be there for everybody else.
That's true, but they have to be able to see themselves. So if I go back to saying I have always struggled with seeing myself. So how can I
Mm.
want to show up and care for something that I don't see or acknowledge at that level?
Now,
So
see, there you go.
we have to go
That's
back.
going even deeper. So I will say, let's be real, listeners. We will probably have to have Lavon on another show so that we can talk about how are you visible and invisible at the same time. Because she is visibly running her business, helping people. If you go to Jersey City and ask most people, Lavon, like they're going to know who she is. They're going to say, you can go to her for XYZ. She can help to connect you with this person. Her networking, her level of networking is amazing. And we just heard her say through the early years and dare I say, up until recently, she never saw herself. So a lot of times when you see people going above and beyond, a lot of times they're doing it because it's easier for me to help you than to help myself be a whole person. That is deep. So I need you guys listening, I need you to hear that. And while you're aggressively reaching for the stars in your own business, while you're, out there, if you're in sociology, helping the world, don't forget to make sure that you are healthy, because there will come a point in time in your life when you are maturing that you will need to know who you are, because there will become a time when you have to fight for you. In order to fight for you, you need to know who you are so you know what to fight for. So I will ask Ms. Lavon, what would your ending words, and when I say ending, the end of this podcast, unfortunately, because there's so many avenues that we can go into with the bombshell she just dropped on us. What would your parting words be to that young man and young woman who is out there, working the business and trying to be there for other people, whether it's loved ones or friends? They just have in their spirit the same way you had in yours, that helper, that desire of hospitality, to be a helpmate, which is not wrong. What would you say to them to make sure that they also don't lose themselves or even find out who they are in the process?
Don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to pause and to put everything to the side to take care of yourself. It's key not only for you to be able to reassess. The word that I've been working with this week was recalibrate. If you think about a calibrator, you've got to be able to work clearly on all sensors. And if your sensors are dirty and you're so busy and all the stuff done piled up, how are you going to be able to function at the level you need to, or even for me spiritually to be able to hear clearly? So if all my senses are clogged up and they're not able to hear from the things that you need, not even just from God, but even those people around you, those people that truly care about you or who are really showing up, how are you going to be here? So pause, reassess, and know that at the other side of that pause, when you press the play button, whoever's supposed to be part of that next scene will be there.
So with that being said, who is Lavon today?
Like we go back to being able to see myself. I'm still struggling with that. So I'm still trying
Even
to
today?
even today.
Wow. So you started your business at 23 and you're now 39 and you're still. So at what point did you start to assess the fact that I'm not sure who I am and start working towards where you are now, that I'm learning and I'm looking?
You want the honest answer? Let's see. What
Yeah,
today is?
let's be real.
Today is the 27th. So we're gonna say April 25th.
Oh my God.
What was Sunday's date? Was that April 25th? We're gonna say April 25th. Okay, April 25th.
Wow.
I am on a pause right now.
Good for
I
you.
am actually ending a 90-day period where I decided to, seek after different things in different areas of my life. And life still happened during this time period that, would cause someone to say, listen, I'm about to wave my flag again. But but I haven't. And I am ending, the 90 days actually on my birthday. And, so we shall see what these next few days hold.
Awesome. I love that. And thank you for being authentic and real. Because you are letting someone else know, you know what, it's okay for me to take that exhale, that deep breath. And it's okay that I don't know everything. No matter how long I've been in the game, it's okay to recalibrate and figure out what is going on and where am I going? Because at the end of the day, if you're running, and let's just say, we found success, but I don't know who I am, what am I successful in? Am I successful in what I was supposed to be successful in? And then we wonder why some people seem to have it all and are miserable. Because it's like, I'm doing all this for who? Because it's not for me, because I don't even know really who I am and what I really want. So I really thank you. I thank you for that. And you see, people, this is why we have these conversations, because we go from A and we end up at K and we've learned something. We learned that it's okay not to be okay all the time, as long as we start the process to figure out, how do I become okay? And I can still function while I am trying to figure it out. So you don't have to stop doing what you're doing. You don't have to crawl under a rock. You can still move in your business and your gift while you're trying to figure out those little areas that are being recalibrated. What would you like to end with?
Let success be a definition that you make up yourself. Being successful in life should not be determined by anyone outside of you. And how successful you are, it only matters what you do. You know what I'm saying? It's depending on you. That's it. Take time, pause. Time is the one thing that you cannot get back. So if you don't spend any time with yourself, don't wake up one day and be like, so who am I? And if you do wake up that day, I don't care if you 80 years old and you're still trying to figure that out, pause. Be like, listen, one of the things I told people this week, I'm not ignoring you, but I'm listening to me. So
that's powerful. That is powerful. And that is a great way to end it. I am not ignoring you, but I'm listening to me. Sometimes you just have to pause and put yourself forward on the front step and figure out what makes you happy. Figure out what makes you content. Figure out, how do I move forward? Figure out, do I want to move forward? Because forward may not be where I'm going. Doesn't mean backwards, but I may want to go to the side and turn down that road, because what was ahead of me was then going to still take me away from my destination. And at the end of the day, reaching and as she said, as Lavon said, not yours, not his, not hers, but ours, our personal success for our lives. And it may not look like what you want it to look like, but as long as I'm okay with it, it is what it is. So I thank you. I thank you again for being raw, for being honest, for sharing a little bit of you with us, with the listeners. And I hope you guys learned something and got something from it. Until next time, keep it real.